Good afternoon, esteemed RGC Chairman and panel members, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to be invited to share my experience in preparing a successful FDS proposal. As we all know, novel and impactful research ideas is important for a successful FDS proposal. But since my research focused on sustainable marketing, and my experience in developing research ideas might not be relevant to researchers in other disciplines. So today I'm going to share with you how I structure my FDS proposal to effectively present my research ideas and impress the reviewers. And my sharing today is actually based on the presentation made by the chair of assessment panel of RGC presented at last year's UGC workshop. So the box at the top is the presentation done last year. And below illustrate my work based on the presentation of the chair of assessment panel of RGC. So in terms of objective, our objective on our proposal should be specific and with a clear focus. So this was my unsuccessful proposal last year, and I revised and resubmit my proposal to make it specific, so you may be able to see that instead of featuring a broad and superficial ideas about my research, I actually make it specific by showcasing the overarching theory I use. And I also make my outcome variable clear with specific focus so that the reviewer will be able to see the linkage between the theory I use and the outcome variable of my study. Next, we should also present well-argued study significance research questions. So last year, I put the impact of my research here and there throughout the whole proposal because I'm so afraid that the reviewer were not impressed by my research questions. And in fact, they were not impressed, and my proposal was unsuccessful. So this year, I consolidate all the impacts argument and consolidate all the arguments under the impact statement so as to strengthen the impact I'm going to convey to the reviewers so that they will be able to grasp why my research is important. And one important thing would be impact does not refer to only theoretical and practical impact. And according to the FDS guideline, contribution and benefits that our proposal made to interdisciplinary researchers, practitioners, teachers, and students are also should be mentioned on our proposal. Next, research methodologies. According to our last year presentation about how to make a good proposal, we should put down detailed data collection and analysis plan on our proposal, as well as appropriate methodologies. So my recommendation is that our research, the scale of our research should be large enough to justify the proposed time period and the budget. So sometimes our research ideas may not be broad enough, large enough, and it can be completed quickly with a small internal grant. If so, the proposal will not be granted. But if the scope is too large, based on my previous experience, the reviewers may think that your proposal is not realistic, and it seems to them that the proposal is overly ambitious and unattainable based on the period and the budget that you requested. So it's kind of like an art to balance between a big and small research scope so as to make your proposal successful. And there will be some tips about how you illustrate your research methodologies to the reviewers. For each study that you are going to use in your research, make sure that you explain clearly the research design, participants, sampling strategies, data collection method, as well as all the research instrument that you are going to use for each of the study on your proposal. So say, for example, I usually use mixed method or multiple study in a research project. So all of the design, participant data collection, methods, sampling strategies, research instrument will be illustrated on my proposal for each study. And next, feasibility and limitation of your study. A comprehensive implementation plans is required to be shown on your proposal. So in my case, I always use pilot study results to showcase the feasibility of my research study to the reviewers. I also put down a very comprehensive implementation plan, and it down to each steps of each stage of your research. And say including the time that I have to put behind internal tendering process of my institution. And lastly, make sure that you also reserve some time for contingency in your plan. So there are some minor but important points that require our attention. Since my proposal, my successful proposal this year is a resubmission, so I do pay attention to read through all the comments of the reviewers. So I adjust all the comments and feedback, like I respond to the reviewers in our general submission. And for the dissemination of our research findings, I also put down clearly the titles of the conference and journal that I'm going to share the research findings of the funded project. And I don't know how, we are all busy at teaching and research, and I am one of the deadline fighters among all. So, and I would recommend of you to allocate sufficient time to refine and proofread our proposal. So previously, I leave myself too little time to proofread my proposal and to refine and to make sure that each of our ideas are put under relevant part of a research proposal. So this is important to allocate some time to refine the proposal before your submission. So lastly, I wish you the best of luck in winning the upcoming FDS proposal. Thank you.